Good morning, everybody. Well, it's nice outside. It's like about 60 degrees. It's still early though. It's supposed to be like 71 today. Cool, a little cloudy, just the way I like it. So it's not going to be real hot. Um, I think just about everybody has heard by now that Dick Clark died yesterday of a massive heart attack. I think he was 82. Dick Clark, most of you in my age will remember him from American Bandstand, the $100,000 Pyramid. I loved that show. They were talking about that yesterday on the news, but one thing that they didn't mention, or at least I didn't see them mention it, was when he hosted the Newlywed Game. Do any of you remember the Newlywed Game? And of course, there were several versions of that, but back in the day when I was younger, that's when the Newlywed Game first came out, and that, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm almost positive, it was hosted by Dick Clark. Dick Clark had his own, he had many companies. He was a jack of all trades, really. You know, if you see the big D in the C, Dick Clark Productions, that's him. They say that he was the world's oldest teenager. He seemed, up until he had his stroke, he really seemed never to age. And then when he did have his stroke, he was already in his 70s when he had a stroke, but people seemed amazed that he had lived such a life of being so young and had a stroke. But it happens, you know. He was blessed to have lived the life that he did, and to have his health for as long as he did. So I'm not sure what he was doing when he had his heart attack, but you know, it just seems to me lately, more and more you hear about more cancers and more heart attacks everywhere. And so it has to be in things that we eat. Pesticides, the preservatives, this, that, and the other. One never knows. However, on another note, the Secret Service scandal. Have you heard of the Secret Service scandal where the men bought prostitutes into their motel? Let's see. There was 3 Secret Service members were, well, there were 3 Secret Service members and 8 other employees remain on administrative leave. Now, 1 supervisor was allowed to retire, 1 faces terminations, and a 3rd resigned. But they're still investigating the prostitution scandal that happened. There were 11 agents and 10 military service members brought prostitutes back to their hotel in Colombia while doing advance work before the president's arrival for a trade summit. So while they were supposed to be there preparing for the president to come over there for a trade summit, they were out drinking, partying, and taking prostitutes back to their room. Now, this is where the taxpayers' dollars were going, because you know all of this did not come out of those men's pocket. They were over there on a job. They were getting paid. They weren't paying for those motel rooms. Taxpayer dollars, U.S. government money, our taxpayer dollars were paying for that. And so it all came to light. They said it came to light when one of the prostitutes demanded to be paid, and the Secret Service agent kicked her out of the room. They had spent the night together. They met at the bar, of course, and he bought her drinks, took her back to the motel. They had sex. The next morning she demanded payment. And he told her point blank he was drunk. She couldn't expect to be paid for that. He was drunk. He didn't know what he was doing. And he kicked her out of the room. Well, needless to say, that brought the scandal about. Now the Secret Service agents that are in this are saying they didn't know they were prostitutes. Well, the only difference between the danger of sleeping with a strange person and prostitution is money. That's the only difference. If you're going to Colombia and you're going to go to a bar and you're going to pick up a woman and take her back to your motel room and have sex with her, and then she's just going to get up and leave, But she's not a prostitute because she didn't ask for money. She's still a strange woman. She's still somebody you didn't know. And these people are married. That's the only thing they're afraid of, I believe, is ruining their marriage. And they should, their marriage should be ruined. This should be ruined. Because it's ridiculous. You're going to go, and this, if they've done it this time, this is not their first rodeo. This is not the first time this has happened. They was talking about this scandal that happened back in 2009. Remember when the two socialites came in on one of the parties that they had at the White House party? Let's see, it talks about that right here. And we all saw that on the news over and over and over again, and that was because of the Secret Service. Now, how did they get past all that, and how did they get close to the president? They're saying that if these prostitutes can, if these men hired these prostitutes like that, since the fact that they were married, all kinds of things could happen. They could blackmail these Secret Service agents. Somebody's going to cave, might let them close to the president, close enough for an assassination attempt. They could, the prostitutes are going to get to know these people. They'll be able to find out who they are. You know they got money. They could kidnap somebody. It'd just be a whole mess. It'd just be a big mess. And you know, when they're talking about Secret Service agents, they're not talking about these 10-cent hookers that stand on the street. So there you go. It's just, it's crazy. It's a mess. And I say everybody involved should be fired. They say that they're saying on here that they want to restore, that this has happened, and they just want to restore America's faith in the Secret Service. Well, our faith in the government's been lost. Why should we have any faith in the Secret Service? Show us, restore our faith in the government before you restore our faith in the Secret Service. That's what I say. But anyway, this just goes to show that from the White House and on down and everything else, the people in the White House don't, most of them, not all of them, but most of them don't even care anymore. They don't know what they're doing. They're just in it for the money, it seems. They're just in it for the money. And then they talked about how at one of the parties that was given by somebody at the White House, how they hired clowns with taxpayer dollars. And then go to, see, here they are hiring prostitutes, hiring clowns for their parties, and then going to sit and cut Social Security because they got to cut the budget. So they're going to cut Social Security for the old people that have worked all their life and retire and want their money, but they want to cut them. I guess they don't want to cut out their hookers and their clowns, which just makes them look like clowns. And that's basically what's running the government. And until next time, bye-bye.